Okay, so the first day of December. In a corner of the island kingdom, Pendulum the watchmaker was fast asleep. His home and his workshop were in the White Palace, one of the many palaces in the island kingdom. Pendulum had been working on a mechanical toy since September. This toy was a gift for his nephew, Clipper, who lived in the Nice Palace on the other side of the kingdom. There were only 2 or 3 springs to tighten up and a handful of latches and levers to be oiled before the toy was finished. Pendulum had been tinkering for months and was now fast asleep. He had been asleep for 3 weeks, but for a niece, 3 weeks was just a nap. The clocks in his workshop ticked away. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The chime sent the window blinds flapping, letting in the first sunbeams of December. The sun's rays bounced off the shiny surfaces of the dozens of clocks that filled the room. Pendulum awoke with a start. He rubbed his sleepy eyes and put on his long, pointed niece hat, which had fallen off during the nap. Crossing the room, he looked at the calendar. "Tighten my gaskets," he said. "It's the first day of December. It's time to wind my clocks." Tick-tock, tick-tock. I hear the voice of the clock, ticking all the hours away. I must hurry or lose the day. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I think all the springs are locked. A dab of oil, a little grease. I must hurry or have no peace. Tick-tock, tick-tock. December is here to bring us good cheer. Tick-tock. In another corner of the kingdom, in the Nice Palace, Balto and his wife, Pandra, sat filling sacks with rice. "That's the last one," Balto said, wiping his brow. "We should have enough rice to last the month." He covered his round belly with his hand. His stomach growled. "Is that your tummy roaring like a lion, Balto?" Pandra asked. "It's all this rice. It's making me hungry. As soon as Clipper comes home, I'll set the table and we'll all sit down to a bowl of rice pudding. The first rice pudding of December," Pandra said proudly. Nieces loved rice pudding. No sooner had Tandra said this when Clipper came running into the room. He had been out all afternoon collecting berries to string into garlands for the Christmas tree and the arches of the Nice Palace. "I can smell rice pudding," he shouted. Soon they were all sitting around the table, and Balto dished out a bowl of rice pudding for everyone. The clock on the wall chimed out the hour. Tick-tock, tick-tock, I hear the voice of the clock, ticking all the hours away. We must hurry or lose the day. Tick-tock, tick-tock, the rice is waiting, the pots are scrubbed. Boil the milk and grab a mug. Tick-tock, tick-tock, December is here to bring us good cheer. Tick-tock. In the third corner of the island kingdom, the royal palace stood high on a hill. It was here the prince lived with his wizard Clo. The prince had gathered all of his staff to hear reports on the preparations for Christmas. The baker presented the prince with a list of cakes, cookies, and candies to be made in the royal kitchens. Peppernuts, candy canes, sugar bells, and ribbon taffy were among the delights that the baker recited from the long list. The forester reported that the Christmas tree farms had produced a bumper crop of blue, red, green, and white spruce, and fir trees and pine trees that could reach to the rafters. The prince listened to reports from everyone. He made an occasional change here and there, but generally he was satisfied. When everyone had given a report and left the room, the prince looked up at the wizard Clo, who had sat the opposite end of the table. "Do you have it?" the prince asked anxiously. "Yes, your majesty," Clo replied, taking from his pocket a mysterious-looking object encased in glistening brass. It was the magic compass. He placed it on the center of the table. The prince reached for the compass, but Clo covered it with his hand. "Your majesty, are you sure you want to continue with this plan of yours?" The prince didn't hesitate. "Absolutely." 2 months ago, the prince had asked Clo to create a magic compass, a compass that could make palaces disappear if the needle were pointed in its direction. "Why do you want to make palaces disappear?" Clo had asked the prince. "Because I plan to build a new palace," he had replied. Clo hadn't liked the idea then, and he didn't like it now. "Your Highness, may I remind you that there are 23 palaces and 1 castle in this kingdom. Why do you want to build a new one?" "Because it's tradition, Clo. All the kings before me built a new palace." "But you're not a king, Prince," Clo corrected. "Not yet, Clo, but on the day I become king, I will have built the biggest and most beautiful palace in the kingdom." Clo shook his head in defeat. Although he was the prince's guardian and advisor, he had no power to disobey his monarch. Reluctantly, he removed his hand and slid the compass along the table towards the prince. And there was more activity throughout the island kingdom. On this, the first day of December, Miranda, who was Clo's niece, was boarding a train. She had just finished her first year of university and was returning to the royal palace to spend the Christmas holidays with her uncle. Miranda had been away for almost a year. She missed her uncle in the royal palace. She even missed the prince, though he had often teased her as a child. Miranda smiled. No one knew she was coming home early for Christmas, and it was going to be a surprise. She found a seat in the train by the window and looked out. The platform was full of people coming and going, passengers waiting to board, families saying goodbye, porters with their collars turned up against the December winds. The clock on the platform struck the hour, and all the passengers checked their watches. Tick, tock, tick, tock. I hear the voice of the clock ticking all the hours away. We must hurry or lose the day. Tick, tock, tick, tock. December is here to bring us good cheer. Tick, tock. What will become of the kingdom if the wizard allows the prince to destroy some of the palaces? And what role will the magic compass play in the story that is about to unfold? Well, the story has just begun. Until tomorrow, good night.